Two of the most storied schools in all of college football, two of the most dominant forces of recent past of college football, and two of the most die-hard fan bases in the nation. Ohio State and Alabama are set to face each other in a home-and-home series in 2027 and 2028. Yeah, only gotta wait 7 years. Still looking forward to it. Two teams that have only ever faced off 4 times. Ohio State won the last bout in 2015 in the Sugar Bowl, which turned into a national title, as we know. Bama won the previous 3 before that. And I gotta question it. As Ohio State fans, are we allowed to hate Alabama more than Michigan? Is that a rule? Is that against the law? Probably. Might be. Is that against the code of conduct? I'm not sure, because I might be. Maybe it's because Harbaugh just curls up into a ball and buries his head into his arms, praying that Ohio State doesn't beat him by 3 touchdowns or more every season. I don't know. But I think it's the conference rivalry thing. You start to think of how big this conference, Big Ten versus SEC's been of years past. I think, as you know, OSU fans, we know tried and true how the best game from the best conference goes week in and week out, and it's the SEC on CBS, whatever it is. We hear that so much. The pedestal teams like Bama or even Georgia, anybody you want to throw out of the SEC, the pedestal they get thrown on, because we just have to assume, because they haven't played anybody outside of their conference all season, but they beat up on each other all season, they're the best conference, the best teams in the nation. It drives me up the wall. It drives me completely up the wall. There's nothing more. I root for Michigan every day of the week if they play Bama. I wish that Michigan beat them by 50. That's personal opinion there. Every day of the week, I'd root for Michigan to beat an SEC team. That's how much I do not like the SEC. And, you know, not to mention, once Michigan does that and then they lose by 35 to Ohio State the next year, just makes us look that much better, you know? But, you know, it's the continuous, there's 4 playoff spots. Why should the SEC get 2 spots? Why? They did this. Again, you know, you bring it up every single year. We hear the same story. The only reason the SEC teams aren't all undefeated is because they didn't play cupcake teams the entire season. I mean, they didn't play teams outside of their conference enough this season. It is beat up on each other inside the conference all season. That's all we tend to hear. But disclaimer though, the Buckeyes have had those seasons. Can't deny it. The Buckeyes have had, you know, schedules where they played 2 or 3 non-conference teams that are just, you know, layup victories. We've seen that, and we understand how difficult scheduling can be, where, you know, you schedule a team 7-8 years down the road, and there was a power 25 or top 25 team when he made that schedule, and they kind of fell off a cliff down the road. So, you know, we get that. But that is the exact reason why I think a matchup like this, it's so good for college football. I wish there was more of this. It's hard to believe for the first time in decades, Ohio State will host an SEC team. Think about that. And they'll do it again against Georgia a couple years later. They're going to do it once again. I feel like we, as fans of college sports, as fans of Big Ten, as fans of the SEC, we need this. We need this ever so desperately. Instead of having this debate on what conference is better or who's more deserving of that 4th spot in the playoff or the playoffs right there, based on what strength of schedule or based on their strength of victories, we can just go look at the cold hard facts and say, hey, look, plain and simple, OSU beat Bama this year. We know which 1-loss team needs to make the playoffs this season. Or, hey, Ohio State beat Bama, Wisconsin beat Ohio State. We see which 1-loss team stronger again because of the common opponents. I really wish it was something they do more often. I hope this is the beginning of something promising for college football, where we see more and more of these top teams, these top programs that are top programs year in and year out for the decades now, continue to schedule each other. And I wish we'd see, again, it's a hope, it's a long shot, but we would see two games out. What do they play? 2 or 3 to 4 games outside of conference usually every year. If we've seen 2 of those games against power conference teams every single year, I think it'd be great for the sport. Send a message. Let those 1-loss Bamas, those 1-loss Ohio States into the conference playoffs, if it came down to it, over a team that's undefeated like Clemson, who hasn't played a Division I team all season. And it does feel like we're kind of at this crossroads of, you know, not just you're going to play your biggest rival at the end of the year. You're always going to have that, but it almost feels like you're seeing more of a conference rivalry here. Who's the better conference? The Big Ten, the SEC, whatever conference you want to throw in there, right? Who's better between them? How do you truly decide that besides throwing in a bowl game at the end of the year? Let them play each other. Let these conferences hash it out. The fact that Ohio State's gotten so long without playing an SEC team, that's crazy. That is crazy when you consider it's two power conference teams. These guys need to get each other on their schedules more often. Doesn't have to be the Bamas, the Ohio States. It can be a Michigan and Georgia, a Michigan State and an LSU, whatever it is. I know we've seen matchups like that down the road, but I'd love to see it continue year in and year out for these programs. Let's get the rivalry going.